We'll call this Lake Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees meeting to order for May 16th, 2022. I'd like to welcome everybody out. All members are present and we do have a quorum established. First thing we want to do is invite everybody to participate in our moment of silence right quick. Thank you very much. If you would please join us in the pledges of allegiance, and it'll be led by Carla Landrum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, we're going in a little bit different order than we normally do at our meetings. So our next item is going to be our student report and recognitions. Ms. Avellino.
Good evening, Dr. Rockwood, President Stacy, Board of Trustees. Tonight we have two groups from Lake Dallas High School to bring to you for recognition. So we'll recognize each group individually and then we'll do pictures at the very end. So the first group we'd like to recognize is our Lake Dallas High School class of 2022 top 10. So may I first bring up Emily Anthony. So Emily will be attending Texas Tech and she'll be majoring in health sciences to become a physician's assistant. Next we have Jeremy Carson. Jeremy will be headed to UNT where he will be majoring in chemistry. Olivia Cromis. Olivia is unable to join us tonight. Madison Despain. Riley Dozalik. Riley will be off to Texas A&M and she'll be studying biomedical sciences. Grace Murray. Grace will be headed to UT Austin and she'll be majoring in advertising. Jessica Sanchez. Jessica will be headed to Texas Women's University and she'll be majoring in nursing. And next is Jasmine Vega. Jasmine is also headed to UT Austin, but she'll be majoring in government. Next, I'd like to ask Landry Billingsley to join me at the podium. So Landry is our class of 2022 salutatorian. She is a 13-year senior of Lake Dallas ISD, and she has actively participated in multiple organizations, including National Honor Society, Science Club, Business Professionals of America, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Student Council, Falcon Friends, as well as serving as the JV and varsity cheer captain. So Landry is excited to attend Clemson University in the fall, where she intends to major in international business. She looks forward to studying abroad while earning her degree and hopes then to continue and pursue an MBA after earning her bachelor's. Ultimately, however, probably the best part is that after she's finished with all that, Landry wants to head back to the area and establish her career here and be a part of the community. So congratulations, Landry. And our class of 2022 valedictorian, Lily Dow. Some good things to say about Lily as well. Lily is also a 13-year senior of Lake Dallas ISD. She has served as the National Honor Society Vice President during her junior year before stepping up to become the chapter president in this current school year. Lily will be graduating with an unprecedented 42 dual credit college hours, some impressive high school classes that she is currently enrolled in as well. We know some of our seniors take a little lighter senior year as they've powered through the first 3, but not this lady right here. She's currently enrolled in AP Chemistry, AP Physics 2, Calculus 2, AP Statistics, and Engineering 3. But that's not all. Lily will continue her education at Olin College of Engineering in Needham, Massachusetts to study mechanical engineering. Her ultimate goal is to work in the aerospace industry and to found her own company. So congratulations, Lily. All right, the second group we have with us tonight is headed up by Director Libby Claycomb, the Lake Dallas High School drill team coach, and High Steppers 22-23 officers. May I introduce Ms. Claycomb? Senior Lieutenant Mary Manassian. Senior First Lieutenant Olivia Anderson. And Senior Captain Grace Huff. So on March 26th, the High Steppers attended the Ascension Nationals in San Antonio, and these ladies represented Lake Dallas ISD and their director exceptionally well and brought home a list of awards we'd like to share with you. The Nationals awards for the officers included the Judges Award, the Best in Class Champion Award for their hip hop routine, their Best in Class First Runner-Up for their contemporary and jazz routines, Grand Champion Award, First Runner-Up, the Challenge Elite Award, and the Reserve Grand Champion. So Nationals awards for the team also included the Judges Award, the Best in Class Champion Award for jazz, kick, and palm routines, overall Best in Category First Runner-Up for jazz, the Grand Champion Award, the Challenge Elite Award, and third place runner-up Grand Champion Award. I don't know what all of those mean, but I can tell you that there was some phenomenal dancing, and they wowed the crowd and their competition. So congratulations to this group of young ladies, all of your dancers, and to our director, Libby Claycomb. So. If you are a family member of one of our High Steppers or one of our top 10, can you please stand and be recognized as well? Thank you, and we'll let Mr. Bennett give us some instructions.
Yes, sir. If the board can come down, please. Let's do this. And then before we move on the very first step. Okay, you guys ready? You look good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, I'll ask you guys to step down, and then the high steppers. You guys can all go in the first row. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you so much. You guys are students. You guys can go.
Miss Abelino, don't feel bad that you don't know what any of that means. I was a drill team dad for 3 years, as you know, and I don't know what any of that means. I just know they got trophies. Yay. But they did good. I do know that means they did really well. So congratulations to all those students again. Okay, our next item is an introduction of our new administrative staff members. Ms. Landrum? Yeah.
So Dr. Rockwood, Mr. Stacy, and trustees, good evening. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the newest Corinth Elementary School principal, Mrs. Jessica Bovan. Mrs. Bovan is joined tonight by her husband, Dre, as well as her daughter, Kendallin, a sixth grader at Lake Dallas Middle School. And her mother and father, Mildred and Jesse Watkins Jr., have traveled from Waco tonight to be with her. And Mildred is the president of the La Vega ISD Board of Trustees and also serves on the TASB Board of Directors. So we want to extend a warm welcome, a Falcon welcome to our visitors. Jessica has been an assistant principal at Lake Dallas Elementary School for the past 2 years. Among the many tasks she has overseen in that role, she has assisted in implementing the response to intervention and professional learning community practices and provided professional development to the faculty on Reader's Workshop, units of study, and guided reading. Prior to becoming a campus administrator, Jessica gained 12 years of elementary teaching experience, including assignments in second grade, third grade, and fourth grade. Jessica received her Bachelor of Science with a specialization in early childhood through fourth grade from the University of North Texas. She completed her Master in Education with a specialization in Educational Diagnostician from Texas Woman's University, and she has completed studies in Educational Leadership from Texas Woman's University, which led to her administrative certification. So will you all please join me in congratulating Jessica Bovan in this latest achievement in our Falcon family.
Again, welcome aboard and welcome your family to our meeting. I was going to pitch the keys to the president back there and let you drive, but I don't think that would work, you know. That's all right. It's worth a shot. Glad to have you guys. All right, our next item is some recognition of a couple of folks of our that are up here on the stand with us, a couple of trustees that are, I wouldn't really call it retiring, but I would just, for lack of a better term, I'll say retiring. So Chad Thiessen and Courtney Tankersley. So. Dr. Rockwood.
So I'll jump in first, but tonight we are going to formally recognize our two retiring trustees, Chad Thiessen and Courtney Tankersley. Both of these trustees have double digits when it comes to years of service on our school board. And if you ask me, I think they both had such a long and respected tenure because of their character and because of their servant's heart. Well, this is only my first year as a member of the Falcon family. It didn't take me long to realize these are two trustees who get it when it comes to focusing on our community and always putting our students and our Falcons first. I certainly want to thank both of you for your many years of service, and on behalf of our 600 employees and 4,004 students, I'm proud to say to you both, job well done. But remember, once a Falcon, always a Falcon. We certainly are looking forward to seeing you out and about on our campuses, on our athletic fields, and back in the community. So please help me thank both of these individuals for a job well done. At this time, if any of your fellow trustees have a word or two they'd like to share, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I guess I do. So, yeah, this may or may not be good. That's true, Chad. No, I just want to say thanks to both of you guys. Chad joined the board a year before I did, so my entire time on the board has been with Chad. Courtney was one of those that was kind of hand-picked to fill a vacant spot, and it was like the best choice that we could have ever made. Very dedicated, and just the right person with insight to the district. I have an outside relationship with both of these trustees. Y'all are still trustees, by the way, as of right now. Personal relationship with, and a professional relationship with Chad, a personal relationship with Courtney, and you couldn't ask for two better people just in general. And I'm glad to say I got to serve with them. If I really said what I wanted to say, I would be here all night. But Chad is going to cry, and Courtney was probably already crying. So, but anyway, again, I want to say thanks for your service. I appreciate you guys, and I love you very much. And thanks a lot.
Well, before we give our two retiring trustees a moment to say a word or two, if they desire, we do have some awards. So we've got one more picture out front with the board, and we've got something that Lance will hand over to them for their years of service. So one more time.
What this is a falcon. It says it's an eagle, and it's trouble. This, it says on the front, Courtney Tankersley, Lake Dallas ISD trustee, 2012 to 2021. Thank you for serving our students, our district, and our community.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
This one is for Chad. It says the same thing on it, so we won't go through it. This is a falcon as well. Congratulations, Chad. All the pictures you need?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Not with Photoshop, right?
That's right.
Chad's still not crying, but he will. He will, eventually. Okay, our next item is public. Oh, yeah, I guess I should just move on. Move on to you guys.
Chad's been here longer, so I'll make him wait. He's used to it. I just want to thank everybody, all our staff, our teachers, our kids, and our parents for allowing me to serve them. I can honestly say that even being a salesperson, I hated campaigning. But getting out and talking to everyone during the years that I campaigned and was elected was truly a great moment for me to hear from people and hear what their concerns were for their children. And it's very obvious in our community that that is our concerns, that our children are the foremost thing on our mind. And for that, I can say Lake Dallas is a beautiful place to live. We moved here when I was expecting my first daughter, and the reason we built a house here was so that my kids would attend Lake Dallas ISD schools. So I have two 13-year seniors. Both of them are college graduates with degrees, one in biology and the other in nursing. Both have good jobs. They're both girls that are very science-minded. I attributed that to the wonderful people that we've had in administration and education throughout our years in school. And it has been such a blessing to be part of the lives here. And I'll always, although I didn't go to school here, I can honestly say I will always be a Falcon. And thank you very much.
Tamara asked me if I was going to have to speak, and I was like, I don't know, but I guess I do. So when I was walking in, I was thinking about, and I was telling my kids that I think where Dr. Rockwood's office is where I was in one of my classes that I remember. So I was thinking, ironically, I'm started my Lake Dallas Falcon career as a student in this very building, and I'm leaving this same building, which is kind of ironic. So, but it's been a pleasure serving on the board. Tamara told me I have to say that I bleed green, and it is true. Everything I do is about Lake Dallas Falcons. The thing that I'm going to miss the most is the student recognition. That's always really the best thing that I think that we can do as a board, is to really see what we do for our kids. I'll bring up my wife again. My wife was a teacher here, and then she went home to be with kiddos for a while, and I was on the board, so she was not able to come back to teach here. And I think she would have, but I kept her from it. And so she's been back at Denton ISD, don't boo, but she's been back at Denton ISD for 10 or 11 years. I don't know, what is it, 10 or 11, 12 years. And but she brought something up to me, and she goes, this is something we can't do in Lake Dallas. And she showed me a Facebook post, and it was the Teacher of the Year recognitions, where the band and the high steppers and everybody was going down the hall and was able to really honor those teachers. She goes, we just couldn't do this in Denton. And that's what I love. I'm not going to do it.
I'm gonna count it. I'm gonna count it. Yeah, go ahead. All right. Again, thanks, and I'm sorry I almost skipped over y'all's comments, because had I skipped over that, I wouldn't have gotten Chad crying. So, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to our next item, which is public comment. This is the time for citizen, staff, or students to provide their comments to the board. The Texas Open Meetings Act requires that every meeting of a governmental body be open to the public, except for those closed sessions as permitted by the statute. A meeting that is open to the public under the Act is one that the public is entitled to attend. However, the Act does not give the public the right to speak at such public meetings, except to redress their grievances through proper channels. As a courtesy to the public, the Lake Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees allows time for the public comments at regular meetings of the board. Statements and questions from the audience will not be permitted during other portions of the meeting. The board requests that comments on any subject be courteous and respectful. This public comment period is not intended for the presentation of complaints. The board will only consider complaints that remain unresolved after they have been addressed through proper administrative channels and when they have been placed on the agenda. I also caution you that your public comment should not complain about individual school employees by name or position pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, unless that employee requests that a public hearing requests a public hearing after you have followed the district's grievance procedures, which are found in board policy. As presiding officer, I'm obligated to determine whether a person addressing the board has attempted to administratively resolve any complaints or grievances about which they want to address the board that involve district officers or employees. If that person has not sought to do so through the dispute resolution channels established by policy, he or she will be referred to the applicable policy in order to do so before addressing the board at a future meeting. Complaints and concerns of employees are covered by policy DGBA. Those of students or parents are covered by policy FNG, and those of the general public are covered by policy GF. In addition, please respect the privacy of Lake Dallas ISD students and do not identify or discuss any student other than your own child during presentation. In order to have your comments heard tonight, your name and the subject matter of your comments must appear on the sign-up sheet, which was located by the door where you came in. Lake Dallas Independent School District Policy BED Local limits each speaker to 5 minutes to complete his or her comments, up to the maximum of 30 minutes for all the public comments. I will strictly enforce the time limit. Finally, Please note that by law, the Lake Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees cannot lawfully respond, discuss, or make a decision on any matter raised in public comment, period, which is not specifically listed on the board agenda for this meeting. With these cautions in mind, we will now be glad to hear the general comments. Give her time. The first person we have to speak is Marcy Anderson. Did I say that right? Ms. Anderson?
Good evening, Dr. Rockwood and the board trustees, and congratulations and thank you for your years of service for the two that are leaving. The good news is there are no complaints, so that makes it easy. We're here mostly to show our support and our confidence in our principal, and just to reflect on the kind of year it's been so far for everybody. Molly's had a year of baptism by fire, I guess you could say. It's been unusually challenging. We've had, Mother Nature working against us, construction crews working against us sometimes. She's usually the first one up there with a mop at 3 in the morning when we had floods. But given all of that, it's been really very encouraging to see how she's responded to it, to the challenges that have been put forth to her pretty much on a daily, weekly basis that we've had to deal with all year. And she's had to deal with some negativity on our campus. So to have her come through it with the grace that she's handled it, the changes that we've had implemented this year, it's been one of those years where I'm sure across the state, so many people are saying, I'm just so done with this year. Never heard anything like that come from our principal or our leadership at all. Very positive, encouraging, motivating words all year. Never a negative comment, never anything derogatory to say about what we've all been through. And so we just want to make sure that we were able to communicate that to y'all about how great this has been for us to have a leader like that. And she's been handicapped because of, like I said, some of the challenges we faced. I really look forward to seeing what having a normal school all in one piece, no accidents happening. For her to have a building running smoothly would be awesome, because then she could actually focus on being a principal. So we just wanted to let y'all know what a good job she's been doing. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome. Our next comment will be coming from Megan Crudgington.
Hello, Dr. Rockwood and Board of Trustees. First, I'd like to thank you for the opportunities that have allowed staff to give feedback throughout the strategic planning process. I appreciate our input being valued as the plans for the future are being established. Many teachers are curious about these results, and we look forward to seeing what the data looks like and how it's going to be implemented. Recently, we took the OHI survey, and I felt limited with the response format and that it didn't paint a full picture of what our experience is like at LDHS. So I'm taking this opportunity to fill in some of those gaps. And with our school year soon coming to an end, this feels like a perfect opportunity to show some appreciation and share some things that you might not know without being on the high school campus day in and day out. Ms. Avellino has been an extraordinary leader throughout this past year, and in years prior, she's always been our guiding force. Every decision she makes is based on what's best for the students and the staff, and if that creates more of a challenge for her, she takes care of it. She knows and understands the realities of teaching, those things that a person without classroom experience will never understand. She knows how to pump us up, motivate us, make us feel valued and empowered, and like LD is where we really belong. We've been through countless curveballs over the past few years, and towards the beginning of all the chaos, I had a lot of fear and anxiety and questioned if this was the right place for me. Each step along the way, Ms. Avellino had unprecedented decisions to make, but it didn't take long for me to see that she was the perfect person to handle these situations, and her priority management skills are incredible. With her leading us, I was able to let go of that anxiety, knowing she could get us through anything. This allowed me to be more productive and focused on my class and students. Throughout everything, she has been our rock, and when things got tough, she never wavered. Ms. Avellino listens to us with open ears and an open heart, and although her to-do list never ends, she always makes time for a staff member when they wish to speak with her. Wouldn't trade her for anything, because she treats us with respect, professionalism, and creates a positive environment. I don't tell her enough how much that's appreciated, so thank you, Ms. Avellino. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Carlajo Cancilla. Did I say that right?
Carla Jo.
Carla Joe.
Yes.
The last name threw me off, man. I never knew your first name. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I went
It's
through
always Miss
college being
Kinsella.
called that. That's right. I'm used to it.
All right, you got 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah, I don't talk for very long. I, too, am very grateful for Molly's leadership. And I've been here 22 years, so I've been through a lot of different changes, and I will say that when I first met her, I knew that she had a understanding of teachers and who we were, and she understood what we cared about. And she won't even look at me right now, but I do have a lot of gratitude. But I am reading a letter from Brandon Wright, who couldn't be here because he was at well, I'll just read it to you. He says, I would like to be there in person to offer my thoughts on our wonderful principal, but alas, I am at Falcon Library, educating the youth, or at least keeping students with seat time off their phones. When I heard my colleagues were honoring Mrs. Avellino before the board, the idea thrilled me. She has been such a steady and calming presence in my 6 years at LDHS, and I fear she will, like many in education, doesn't get enough credit. On that note, one of Mrs. Avellino's skills is building up the confidence of her staff. I was relatively new to teaching when I came aboard, and she has always been there with words of praise, encouragement, and guidance. Her leadership steered the campus through the uncertainties of the pandemic, construction catastrophes, and the day-to-day minutia and problems that face every high school campus. I cannot fathom the amount of pressure she's been under, officially, acting as principal this year, a year still unlike any other before. Yet every time I see her, she has a smile and a kind word, waving, not drowning. Mrs. Avellino is one of the main reasons I love being a Falcon, and I am delighted she is getting some deserved recognition. Thank you for your time. Brandon Wright, English teacher.
Thank you very much. I have one comment that was emailed to me today by Tracy Lilly. I'll read that in right quick. I am a teacher at Lake Dallas High School, looking forward to receiving my pin for 5 years of service in the district at Convocation this coming year. I know that there have been a lot of teachers wishing to express their love and admiration for our beloved principal, Molly Avellino, at the board meeting tonight. I regrettably cannot make it out in person, but would like to add my thoughts to those being heard. Since she precedes me, I cannot speak to her entire time at Lake Dallas. However, for the 5 years of my time in the district, she has been one of the best principals I've ever worked under. She is tireless, compassionate, fair, and always in our corner. She is welcome in our rooms when she comes to observe, because we know she has genuine constructive feedback to share. We trust her experience and we trust her experience and her judgment, as she has proven to us time and time again that she has a heart for the students and teachers of Lake Dallas. I feel like with all of the data collected this year, there is a missing piece: Molly at the heart of our school. So that is her comment. So I appreciate the comments. Thank you very much. And we'll move on. We'll move on to our next item, which is canvass and declare the results of May 7th, 2022 election of members for places 3, 4, and 7 on the Lake Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees, in consideration approval of the results. Tonight, the board of the Lake Dallas Independent School District will canvass the Board of Trustee election from May 7th, 2022. I will need a motion to approve and adopt the results of the May 7th, 2022 school board election as presented for places 3, 4, and 7, be certified as canvassed and declared as duly elected: Ginger Collier for place 3, Scott Baird for place 4, and Bruce Smith for place 7. Do I have a motion? I have a motion to approve. Motion to approve by Mrs. Tankersley and a second by Mr. Thiessen. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor of approval, please indicate. And that passes unanimous, 7-0. I'm sorry? Yeah, he won't spell in the minutes. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is to administer the oath of office. Mrs. Broadstreet.
If you'll raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the Board of Trustees for the Lake Dallas Independent School District. Place, state your place number of the state of Texas, and will do the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Congratulations.
Oh, okay. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'd like to formally welcome our newly elected trustees. Congratulations again. And we're going to get a picture, right? Let's get a picture. Oh, okay. At this time, we will adjourn to closed session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. It is 6:50 p.m. and we are back in open session. The first item that we have is election of Board of Trustees officers for 2022 and 2023. Do I have any discussion or even a motion regarding election of officers? Oh. Motion to make nominations. Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Lynn Stacy president, Alicia McKinley vice president, Mark Tucker secretary.
Okay. Did you get that, Mulaney? You got that? All right. So with that motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Is there any further discussion before we take a vote? If there's no further discussion, all in favor of approval, please indicate. And that passes unanimous. Thank you. So we're going to take a quick 1-minute recess while we reorient our seats, and we'll be right back. Okay, we will reconvene. Our next item is our trustee reports. And we will start down here on the left side with Mr. Baird.
Let me just say, I'm glad the election's over with. I appreciate the citizens trusting me for one more term. But I also want to congratulate the seniors. This is always one of the most exciting times to be a board member, because we get to go out to the graduation and everybody's happy and everybody's throwing things and yelling and screaming and smiling. We don't have any complaints to deal with, and so it's always lovely. And so congratulations to the parents as well that brought those kids along. You never arrive alone, and these seniors, no exception. We congratulate parents and the seniors. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Smith, you got anything? You're not obligated, so.
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody putting their trust and confidence in me. It's a very humbling experience. I feel very honored to be sitting up here. Again, want to thank everybody for coming out and voting, and thank you for your confidence.
Thanks, sir. Ms. McKinley, my new vice president.
So I want to say welcome to Ginger and Bruce. Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. And so I want to acknowledge everybody that comes to these meetings every single month. Thank you guys for showing up and consistently being here and being our audience. I really appreciate that. It gives us somebody to look at, make eye contact with, and to feel like somebody cares. Not that you guys who are on YouTube or video don't care, but thank you guys for showing up. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the hard work that you do and understanding that this is an extension of your workday. And if you're anything like me, at the end of my workday, I'm just ready to go home. So again, I wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you for being willing to put in the extra time that you put in for us and for our Falcons.
Okay, Mr. Tucker.
You know, today I went to field day, and what an awesome experience it was just to watch all those kids and teachers and staff and everybody, the students at the high school helping. It was awesome. But last Friday I went to the new indoor facility, and I want to shout out to John Kennedy for the adaptive PE program. It was unbelievable to watch those kids and how happy they were and what he does with them on a weekly basis. So it was awesome. So when you see him, thank him for what he does.
Thank you. Oh, you're going to defer, or do I come back to you? All right. Mrs. Collier.
I just, again, want to say kind of what Bruce said. Just thanks for the vote of confidence. And definitely a different election that I run this time compared to the bond election that I run. But I am thankful, again, seeing some of the bond processes that have been the new building, the new indoor facility, and all of that. I'm thankful for the voters that passed that a few years ago. And just thank you for your vote of confidence for me to be up here today.
All right, Mr. Richardson. Nope, you're good. All right, I just want to say congratulations to Mr. Baird for his re-election, Mr. Smith, your election, Mrs. Collier, for you being elected to the board, and I also want to say congratulations to Ms. McKinley and Mr. Tucker for being nominated for officers on the board. It's a very big responsibility. Are you panicking yet, Mark? No, not yet. No, it's very rewarding. This is a great place to be, and a great organization to kind of put your hands in and work with. So, working with Dr. Rockwood is really good, and he's a real professional, and appreciate having him here too. So, again, congratulations to everybody, and congratulations to the seniors as well. I'm ready to see them on graduation on the 25th, 6th, 25th?
25th.
25th, okay. I'm sorry, I'm a grandpa to be, so my mind's in a fog right now. So anyway, all right. So our next item is our superintendent report. Dr. Rockwood.
All right, just echo everything everyone said. Congratulations to our newly elected trustees. Excited to have you all on the team of 8. Did want to give some shout outs to our students. The Visual Arts Department at Lake Dallas Middle School has shared some fantastic artwork to be displayed at our board meeting. So actually, if anyone came out those doors right behind the staff there, a lot of artworks on display. Be sure to check those out if you haven't on your way out. We also been putting those things on our social media. Also proud to announce 2 of our high school freshman students won writing awards in the 2022 NCTC contest. Lena Wynn won 2nd place in the Brad Dill Memorial Short Story Contest with her story Orange Factory Worker. Miriam Anwar won 3rd place in the Keith King Memorial Poetry Contest with her poem My Mother's Magnolia. So awesome to see our kids doing things both academically and creatively as well. Also happy to announce that freshman Randy Luke received the Best in School Award at the Congressional Art Competition and will receive a special certificate of congressional recognition. And if that is on social media and online, it's a fantastic piece of artwork. So kudos to her as well. I'll also echo what Mr. Tucker said about the adaptive PE program last week and getting kids. Also, I know that Coach Head was out there with a lot of his folks, but what was interesting is that we saw several of the students tonight recognized in the top 10 for what they're doing academically. But I think the thing that I love the most about Lake Dallas is that so many of those students were also at that adaptive PE program in the fun house with our kids, jumping around, being connected. And I think if anyone tries to figure out what is different about Lake Dallas ISD, it's that family feel and how our students are not just growing academically, but they're growing in their values and as young people. So exciting to see them there and for all the work that our parents and our staff are doing. So beyond that, we'll have some more information under upcoming events on graduation, but we are certainly excited. And again, congratulations to our top 10, our Val and our Sal, and all of our students who we'll see in a little over a week.
Thank you, Dr. Rockwood. Our next item is the consent agenda. The consent agenda items are items identified as routine, procedural, or informational, or self-explanatory, presented in a single motion to be acted on at one time. Do I have any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? If not, I will consider a motion on the consent agenda. Motion to approve by Mr. Tucker. Do I have a second? A second by Mr. Baird. Is there any further discussion before we take a vote? If not, all those in favor of approval, please indicate. And that passes unanimous 7-0. Thank you. We have no action items tonight, but we do have future items. The one is 2022-2023 Board of Trustees meeting dates.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to let the trustees know that in your board packet and on the board book online, we have a proposed school board meeting date schedule for the 22-23 school year. And so with future items, we like to bring things that will be voted on next month. And so we can all double check our calendars and get ready for next year. But then we'll like to set those on the schedule so we can be prepared to serve our community for 22-23.
Thank you, sir. Our next item is our information items, the first of which is summer school plans.
Good evening, Dr. Rockwood. Good evening, Board. And so tonight I just want to come and update you on the plans for summer school this year. And this year we're going to do what is required for summer school. And so that would be three different groups of students. The first group are our bilingual students that are our incoming kindergartners and first graders. And with those students, we are required to do 120 hours of instruction over the summer, or offer 120 hours of instruction. They don't have to take it, but we have to offer it. And so the plan for that is for the incoming kindergarten and first grade bilingual and ESL students, we're going to have it at Lake Dallas Elementary School, and the dates will be June 1st through July 1st, and these students will go Monday through Friday. The hours will be from 8 o'clock to 2:15. We'll provide transportation, and breakfast and lunch will be served as well. And through that, from June 1st through July 1st, we will get the 120 hours of instruction in for those students. The next group that we're going to focus on this summer is remediation for students who weren't successful on the STAR test. They have an opportunity to retest at the week of June 20th, and so we want to do remediation for those students before they retake their test. And so that will be the next group that we're doing, and also the high school students that need credit recovery. And so the targeted students for that, of course, will be the EOC remediation students in credit recovery. This will be held at Lake Dallas Middle School, and the dates will be June 1st to June 23rd, and the testing dates are in that. The last June 20th through 23rd will be the testing dates. The sessions are to be determined because we don't have the results back from the EOC test yet. We got some today, but we won't get the rest of those until Friday. And once we see how many students we have, then we'll plan out how many sessions we need to offer for them. As I said, the EOC administration is the week of June 20th. We will provide transportation, and we will also provide breakfast and lunch for those students. And the last group of students are our students that are special ed who have extended school year or compensatory services indicated in their IEPs. And these, of course, will be for our special education students with ESY, extended school year, indicated in their IEP. This will be at Lake Dallas Middle School. The dates will be from June 6th through July 21st. With that, we will not provide services the week of July 4th. The hours will be from 8 o'clock to noon. Transportation will be provided, and meals will be provided in June, but not July because our cafeteria staff doesn't work in July. Our summer school principals are Miss Shelley Went, Miss Jennifer Phillips, and our extended school year will be Miss Amanda Foreman. Any questions?
Do we have any questions from the board on this item? I think I have a question. Okay. Regarding the meals that are provided. Are those still going to be free during
Yes, sir,
this
for the summer they are. Mm-hmm.
What does that look like next summer? Is it too early to tell? Because with some possible changes.
Any clue for next summer?
There's Wes right on the spot. Thank you, sir. All right.
Got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Those that didn't do well and get to retest, will those new test scores replace the first test scores?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we just look for when they pass it.
So I was going to ask, like, for the, you were saying for the month of July, that meals wouldn't be served. You guys know that our library offers meals as well, so I don't know if they would be willing to partner and provide something, but the library provides meals in the summertime as well.
Okay, that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, our next item is a budget update, and I will invite Mr. Wes Eversole to the podium.
Okay, good evening, Mr. President, Board, Dr. Rockwood. First of all, congratulations to Ms. Collier and Mr. Smith. Welcome you on behalf of the staff from Lake Dallas ISD. I just want to welcome you all aboard. We'll be getting to know each other, I'm sure, but we're excited and to get y'all know as well. So, at any rate, so tonight we're going to start our first presentation for our budget sessions, and so tonight we're going to review our budget calendar. We're going to look at kind of a historical look at our fund balances of the three funds that the board approves. That's the general fund, the child nutrition fund, and the debt service fund. We're going to review key budget drivers of our revenue. We'll have a kind of a historical look at our tax rates, and then kind of give you a feel for how enrollment's changed over a period of time and our special population trends as well. And then we'll kind of give you a feel for what to look forward in our upcoming budget meeting in June. So this is our budget calendar. Our budget process, as far as board meeting goes, about a 4-month process. Obviously tonight is the first meeting. We're going to give you this brief budget update. We will be available for a budget workshop early part of June if the board desires to have a workshop. So we can certainly have those discussions when the time is appropriate. But I just want to let you know that we are available for a budget workshop if the board is interested. And then our next board meeting is June 20th. We'll give you another budget update. We're going to be looking at compensation, giving you a recommendation of compensation package. We'll be reviewing campus and departmental budgets, and then give you kind of a budget overview from a revenue perspective and an expenditure perspective. We'll still have several more meetings to talk about the general fund, and so that will be our first look at the overall general fund budget on June 20th. And then the July 18th board meeting, we'll give you another budget update. Again, we'll be reviewing the general fund. We'll also review the food service fund and the debt service fund at that time. July 25th are our certified values, so we will get our certified values on or before July 25th, and that will come from our friends at Denton County Appraisal District. And so, so we will share that information to you during our August 15th meeting. We'll be reviewing some federal programs and give you a final budget update. And then we'll top it all off on the last Monday of August, which we will have our public hearing, and we will ask you to adopt the budget at that time. And then we're going to change things up a little bit. We're also going to ask you to adopt the tax rate that same evening. Traditionally, we've adopted the tax rate during the September meeting, but now TEA really calculates that tax rate for us. And so you will have all the information that you will need to adopt the tax rate on August 29th. And I'll talk about how TEA calculates that tax rate in just a second. But that's kind of our budget calendar as it stands right now. So just start off with the general fund. This is kind of a historic 6-year look back on our fund balance on our general fund. And fund balance is just simply have your assets and your liabilities, and so it's a simple math. It's not really a cash statement. It's not really a savings account in many respects. It's just simply the difference between our assets and our liabilities. We use our general fund for cash management, and so over a period of time, we get our taxes, the majority of our taxes we receive at the end of January and in February. And as the district property value increases, and we've talked about this several times, we'll talk about it in just a second, but as property values increase, the state revenue, or the state component of our revenue system, decreases. So state aid decreases as property values and taxes increase. And so there's more and more need for cash to float us through the September through December period. And so we use it for cash management. We also use fund balance for ongoing support for educational programs, one-time expenditures. TEA likes to have they like us to carry at least 25% of our annual expenditures. So you hear that phrased in different ways. It's 90 days, 3 months, 25%. Those are all synonymous as far as the terms go when we talk about what TEA likes to see in our fund balance. And so you can see at 15-16 we were about 28.5%. So we were a little bit over as the minimum amount that TEA likes to see. And then you've seen we've increased our reserves the past several years, and there's a variety of reasons for that. But probably the biggest reason is COVID, and the fact that we just flat out didn't have expenditures. Some expenditures were just not incurred when, especially the first year, 1920, and even last year. We didn't have as many field trips. Our utility costs were down. We didn't have the needs for substitute teachers, for a variety of reasons, which we've talked about in past sessions with the board. And so you can see our reserves have climbed up to 32.7%. So this improves when we go out to the market and sell bonds. They look at our reserves or our fund balance, and so this improves our rating. This also is part of our annual first report that we'll give each October. So we'll give you a report, and one of, the majority of that report deals with financial standing. So it helps in both aspects. So bottom line, the general fund is financially healthy. The child nutrition, so this is the second of the three funds that we're going to ask you to approve in August. And the Child Nutrition Fund supports the Child Nutrition Fund program. We are able to use these reserves to purchase kitchen equipment, one-time expenditures, and so it is a buffer. I'm working with Miss Reese right now, or she's actually putting some specs together, and we're replacing some equipment this summer, and so we will probably draw down some of those reserves going into next year, but at the same time we are operating as a surplus. And so you can see we went down to 14%, and then in 18-19 we increased to 18%, and then 22%, and then 30%. We have been under the summer seamless feeding program for the past 2 years. And so what that means is that the federal government have paid for all the breakfast and lunches to the district. And so they reimburse us an amount for each meal that we serve, one amount for breakfast and one amount for lunch. And so essentially our students have been eating for free, which has been a wonderful benefit. And to be honest with you, it's helped us out financially because that reimbursement rate certainly helps. But even more so, we have Ms. Reese and her Child Nutrition Department have served record-setting meals because they were free, I think. And so that comes with a revenue stream, and we've been able to put some pennies in the bank for the Child Nutrition Fund. Again, we're financially healthy in the Child Nutrition Program as well. And then this kind of gives you a feel for where we are in our debt service. Debt service the debt service fund is used to repay bonded indebtedness. And so when we go out to the voters for a bond election, this is the fund that we accept the taxes. We record them under this separate fund, and the only expenditures that can be paid out of this fund are to service debt. again, a higher fund balance and debt service improves our bond rating as well. And one of the things we're gonna talk about probably in the July meeting is we're gonna go into a little bit more further discussion concerning our debt service, concerning our payments that will be made next year, and we will be coming back to you like we've done in the past with a prepayment resolution to buy down our debt. For the past 10 years, we've either refinanced or prepayment, kind of like an extra house payment on your mortgage, kind of the same type of concept. And we've been able to save our taxpayers around $28 million in the last 8 years just by using that strategy. And so it's certainly helped pay off interest cost earlier and pay off principal earlier as well. So going into this next year's budget, the key budget factors, we're going to be talking about property values here just in a little bit. And one of the things that we bring up each and every year is before House Bill 3, as property values increased, the school districts and all school districts taxed on that property value the year the increase occurred. But TEA would look at the previous year's revenue, previous year's tax revenue, and they would fund us based on that previous year's revenue stream. And so there was what they call a lag. And so when school districts' property values increased, school districts were able to use that lag to fund salary increases, to fund inflationary costs, so forth and so on. And that was kind of the inflationary concept that was built into school district budgets before House Bill 3. Now House Bill 3 comes in. As property values increase, state rate decreases. State aid decreases about the same proportion. And then an extra caveat, and we talked about this last year, as property values increase, the tax rate will decrease. And so now we're using what those appraised values are from the Denton County Appraisal District. We are taxing based on a state calculated tax rate. And so, so the board really doesn't have any say-so on the M&O portion of the tax rate. TEA will calculate for that. We will get that hopefully first part of August, and share that tax rate with you at our first meeting, and then ask you to adopt that rate during the second meeting. But as values increase, that rate will decrease, and so we are looking at a tax rate. I'm not sure exactly how much, a penny or two, it will go down. And then also, the state of Texas voters approved a new homestead exemption. And so the old exemption was for each homestead, you got an exemption, or the homeowner got an exemption of $25,000. That was increased to $40,000. So our taxpayers will see a lower tax rate, and then they will gain the benefit of a $40,000 exemption. So there'll be some shifting this year to accommodate that. Our revenue after House Bill 3 is now basically our enrollment or our attendance, and so we get paid for every kid that walks in the front door each and every day. So that's average daily attendance. And for the 2021 school year and the 21-22 school year, there were hold harmless provisions in law. So the state of Texas gave us hold harmless money for the 2021 school year, and did hold us harmless on our attendance rate for the first 4 or 6 weeks of this year. So we were held harmless. Our attendance rates did decrease for the first 6 weeks. It has increased the 5th 6 weeks, and of course we're still in the sixth week right now. But for the most part, they have held us harmless. That hold harmless provision, we're very doubtful that that's going to occur next year. In fact, I can give you about a 99.9% prediction rate that we're not going to see that hold harmless come into effect next year. And then we are funded by our student needs or our special populations. So not only are we funded based on the number of students that walk in the front door each and every day, but we're also funded based on the number of special ed students and their needs, the number of GT students and their needs, the number of students that we have in our career and tech program, the number of students that we have that are at risk. And so those are weighted in our funding mechanism. And so we do make an estimation of where we feel like we're going to be next year, and I'm going to share with you some trends that will kind of give you a feel for how those special populations have changed over a period of years. So this is our taxable values. We got our first look at our taxable values for this year, I guess about a couple weeks ago. And the initial taxable values have increased about 12%. And so that comparison is 12% above where we were this time last year. Not to certified values, but where we were at the beginning of May this year compared to where we were last year. We were up by 12%. Last year, our certified values increased 7%. So we have seen some growth. Now, the difference between the values that we see right now and the certified values are the protests. And so DCAD, Denton Central Appraisal District, is in their protest season right now. And so as a homeowner, you have either received your tax statement or you'll receive it real soon. And mine was an eye-opener, and I think most of them are. But we are in protest season. They are looking at a substantial amount of protests. They're expecting 120,000 protests over the protest season, which I think is going to be a record. And so that will culminate on the 25th of July, where we will get our certified value. So these numbers that we're looking at will be going down as the protests occur. The way our values are set up right now is the appraisal district gives us the highest number of the protest value of each of the taxpayers. So as protests occur, that number goes down. I'm kind of getting lost in the minutia, but that does become important in some items that we'll talk about in June concerning our estimation of taxes. But anyway, this is a trend. You can see that our property values actually decreased for about 6 years, I guess, starting in 09-10, and for the remaining, I think, 6 years, really till 14-15 or 15-16, they actually went down. And so that meant that our revenue stream went down because the property values went down. And so we had to pledge what they call Tier 1 dollars to make those payments. It was a small amount. It wasn't a big deal. But as the values have increased, we were able to fund some reserves that we shared with you on the previous slide on the debt side, which in the event the property values go back, we're able to use those reserves as opposed to pledging some general fund dollars to make those payments. So this is kind of a look at our tax rate. Our highest tax rate was in 05-06. And we adopted a $1.86 tax rate per $100 valuation. And then there was some compression that occurred from the state level, and so it went down to 152 and then went up to 165 and then 167. It remained at 167 for a long period of time. And then House Bill 3 hit, so you can see the state has compressed our tax rate down from 167 to 156 to 155, and currently at $1.50. We'll see some more compression this year as well, so we expect that will go down. So just to kind of give you a feel on where we are enrollment-wise, this is just a bar graph showing what our class sizes are from kindergarten to 12th grade. You can see our class sizes are less than 300 until we hit 6th grade, and then they're above 300 for our secondary grade levels. You'll see a big jump at 9th grade. And so this is just kind of a table that I've been sharing with the board for many, many years. And this simply shows the number of kids that we have in each grade level, K through 12. And the red signifies any class that's above 300, and then the gray is below 300. And so you can see just by looking at this that the numbers that we have in the secondary classes are higher than in our primary classes. And if you looked at this table 15 years ago, it was opposite. The red was kindergarten through 5th grade, because we were growing, we're bringing in the homes that were being built at the time, we're bringing in new kids. And over a period of time, those kids have filtered through our system. So they started in kindergarten. We heard a couple 13-year students that we recognize tonight. And so they have filtered in through our system, and now we have a fair amount of empty nesters. And so now the homes that are coming in are a little more expensive, and we feel are bringing more middle school and high school students. And so that's why we see some larger numbers, the primary reason why we think we see some larger numbers. Some encouraging things, you can look at our kindergarten class. Last year, we were at 238 kindergartners, and that was a big drop from 276 the preceding year, but it went back up to 263. So there certainly, we feel like there were some families that didn't send their kindergartners here last year. You can see that 238 has grown to 263, and again, our current kindergarten class is 263. So a lot of those kids we feel like we've captured, maybe all of them, at least from a numbers perspective. Not all school districts in our area can say that. But you can see the numbers have increased slightly at the elementary levels. But starting in last year's 5th grade, that increased 10 kids. We increased from 6th grade to 7th grade. We increased from 7th grade to 8th grade. 8th grade to 9th grade, we went from 318 to 382. So that's that big class in 9th grade. And so we'll see if that trend continues. It may. And if so, we will make our adjustments accordingly. But you can see currently all middle school and high school classes are above 300 students. So this is our enrollment projections that were presented, I guess, last fall by our demographers. And it shows that in 31, 32, we'll be up to 4,300, a little bit north of 4,300 kids, which is about a 1% increase. So it's not a super dramatic increase. We will certainly look at the numbers. The demographers will look at the current numbers and maybe make some changes on their report that they'll be sharing with us this fall. But that's where it stands right now, modest growth. And so this is kind of a breakdown of our enrollment. And so you can see the bar graph, the enrollment has been relatively stable, as we've talked about. But within that, our subpopulations, our economically disadvantaged students, increased from 35% in 2009 to 47%. So in some respects, we're a richer community, but in other respects, we're a poorer community from that perspective. Our at-risk population increased from 32% to 44%, another pretty good change over that period of time. We've increased our vocational participation from 26 to 30%. Special ed has stayed pretty steady. Our English language learners increased from 6% to 12%, so there's some needs there, some increased needs there. Our gifted and talented numbers have been steady. So you can see our population has changed. And as far as our ethnicity breakdown in the district, our American Indian population has stayed the same. Our Asian population has stayed the same. Black population has stayed about the same. Hispanic has increased. Hispanic population has increased. Pacific Islanders is roughly the same. And our Caucasian population has decreased as a percent. So that kind of gives you a feel of the breakdown of our ethnicity. So going into June, we will give you some more information on our general fund revenue. And remember, revenue is tied to growth, the number of kids. So if we increase in kids, in theory, our revenue increases. If we go down, in theory, our revenue decreases. We'll be reviewing campus budgets with you, departmental budgets, and we'll bring a compensation plan to you at that time. So I know that was a kind of a short deep dive into our budget, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? Yep, Mr. Baird.
I know this is not a question or the demographer report, but I know there's a lot of chatter out there with a lot of the new construction going on that I'm hearing out in the public. All the school districts behind, all the school districts behind. We are still on track and are familiar with the numbers and the developments and all that, right? We still have capacity.
We are.
So we're okay.
We are.
As we know today.
As we know today, right? You know, we built a little more capacity. With this last bond election, we added a little more capacity to Corinth Elementary. We added a little more capacity to the high school. In the next phase of construction, we'll be adding more capacity to the high school. The middle school has plenty of capacity. We've got capacity right now at Lake Dallas Elementary and Shady Shores Elementary. And so, you know, we do have some fallback positions in the event that some areas get tight, but a couple points. We do have a fair amount of apartments that are coming in, and I know that we always get questions about, are we going to be able to accommodate the students from the apartments? The apartments that are coming in are really not yielding a ton of kids. The price point of these apartments are relatively high for families, and we're just not seeing the yields on those new apartment complexes that are coming in. And so, so the demographer will look at the type of apartment complex that comes in and make their judgment based on historical information in our school district. And again, our new apartments, we're not yielding tons of kids. We are yielding some students with the new housing, but over a period of time, you know, we've got developments that take 3 or 4 years to develop and build out, maybe even longer, although right now I don't know. But so it takes a period of time for us to see those students. And so even though we do have new housing coming in, they're in a variety of states of construction right now. And so we'll keep an eye on it, but we feel pretty comfortable where we are right now.
Thanks, sir. Any other questions or comments? Nope. Appreciate it. Thank you, Wes. Our next item is a strategic planning. I'm going to call it an update.
All right. Good evening, board. This evening I'll be presenting with Dr. Greg Gibson from Moat Casey as well, so he'll be joining me. We just want to give you an update on strategic planning, what we've been through to get to this point, and then share with you a draft balance scorecard at the end. So going through this, just as a reminder, strategic planning is a systems approach through listening and learning that lays the groundwork for continuous improvement. Tonight you'll see a concise final product, a draft final product of the balance scorecard. It includes community beliefs, mission and vision statements, objectives and actions, annual goals, and long-term goals. And the part with the objectives, actions, annual and long-term goals, those are still in development. So we won't go into a lot of detail with those because this is a longer process. So first, we started by engaging stakeholders. I'm sure many of you know about this, but we started by creating a community committee It was established through the survey. Anyone who was interested in serving on the community committee, we invited them to come in and serve. And then we also had a community survey that was open for 3 weeks from March 28th through April 15th. And then the district and faculty staff were on teams as well. And so one of the groups was the senior leadership team. It was made up of principals as well as district administration. And then Dr. Rockwood attended listening and learning tours at each of the 5 campuses. And during each of those meetings, we did a SWOT analysis where they identified a strength, a weakness, an opportunity, and a threat. And then overall, we have received over 2,000 responses through that listening and learning tour, as well as the community survey. So the listening and learning tour, like I said, Dr. Rockwood has attended the listening and learning tour at all 5 of the campuses where the SWOT analysis was completed. That information was shared with the board as it stood in April, whenever we had the workshop. And then the previous board worked on the team trust and then the good governance inventory. And Dr. Gibson is going to walk you guys through pieces of that this evening as well, so that you can review that. But that happened on April 19th during a board workshop. And then the community committee met on April 21st and May 12th. And then the senior leadership team met on April 25th to discuss those belief statements. So this was a 2-step process where at first we were in groups for the 6 different categories, and they looked at just different adjectives to describe what those groups would be. And then they narrowed the focus to 2 to 3 word phrases, and then sentences were developed that they came back and looked at to say, yes, this is something that we can live with. Yes, we like this. These are things that we wish would be changed. And then developing actions and measures. So we've started this process. We got into collaborative teams with content experts in each of the 4 categories. And we just brainstormed what those actions and measures should be. And so at this point, they are small statements and phrases to help develop longer ones to get to those goals. And senior leadership met on May 9th as well as May 12th to work on this. And then developing the mission and vision statement. First, they had the community committee reaffirm the slogan, which is Falcons First, and the vision through a Foursquare activity. And so they identified things that were clear to them and things that were partly cloudy. Maybe they just needed some additional feedback on that to understand completely what was being conveyed. And then they could also identify strengths of the statement as well as weaknesses for the statement so that we could continue to refine the work that had been done. And in the end, we created a concise mission statement that will be shared with you this evening as well. And that was on May 12th last week. So now I am going to reintroduce some of you, introduce others of you to Dr. Greg Gibson with Moat Casey to take it from here. Sorry. Right here.
Good evening, Mr. President and Dr. Rockwood, trustees, and congratulations, Mr. Smith and Ms. Collier. Good to see you, Ms. Collier. It seems like I already know you. You were at a lot of these meetings that Dr. Heathcote just went over. The only thing that she left out in the calendar was the 187 text messages and cell phone calls between Dr. Rockwood and Dr. Heathcote and myself getting things organized. And I say that as a positive. Truthfully, working with some districts starting at this juncture, we're looking at, like a September timeline of having a product for the board to review. And just due to the efficiency and the effectiveness of getting meetings scheduled and, staying on timeline, I'm happy to say there's a product to present tonight. Every time that I've spoken, we've talked about the aligned arrows, and I promise you this is probably the longest I'm going to spend talking about one thing, and then we're going to jump onto the scorecard. But at every meeting, we've clicked through the aligned arrows, and of course, everyone says, yes, we want all the arrows in the organization to align. When you see that, you want this integrated approach, if you will. But I haven't, and it's my fault, and I should have done this, but I should have gone a little bit deeper into the description of that stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and I'm not going to read all of those, but and if you notice the graphic in the middle, it's going from kind of a cloud to a clearer circle. But look at the words in the upper right. So in stage 1, the work is characterized by activities rather than processes. They're largely responsive to immediate needs or problems, and the goals are poorly defined. I mean, if you wanted to have another column of say that in plain language, whack-a-mole. I mean, that's what stage 1 is, just whack-a-mole. So then just watch as the description changes. So organization is beginning to carry out repeatable processes, early conditions of organizational units or organization, and then strategy and quantitative goals are being defined. Then as you move to stage 3, processes begin to become repeatable steps, regularly evaluated for improvement. And the processes address your key strategic objectives or strategies and your goals. And then stage 4, it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Processes are characterized by repeatable steps that are regularly evaluated for change and improvement. The organization, well, let me skip to the end. The processes and measures track progress on key strategic objectives and sustainable goals. So that, you know, of course, the overarching goal is to move from stage 1 to stage 4. And tonight is really, I think we said this the other night at the community meeting, it's the end of the beginning. Like that's really what this reflects, is the end of the beginning. Dr. Heathcote mentioned a while ago that, you know, the senior leader team or the tactical team, looking at the chart that's in front of you right now, the tactical team is sitting behind me, the strategic team is sitting in front of me right now. And really in high-performing organizations, the strategic team and the tactical team understand their roles, and then they design work with a true integration between the two roles. So the strategic team is constantly monitoring the strategic objectives, asking good questions about the strategic objectives. The tactical team is fully prepared to give reports on tactical information periodically and throughout the year. Then you start to see the arrows begin to align. And by the way, I don't say this enough, the strategic role in front of me, tactical role behind me, then is constantly measuring and evaluating the operational role, which is the front line. I know in public comments tonight, one of the teachers said that they appreciated you coming and, you know, listening to them as the strategic plan started. And, you know, I wanted to say the beauty of that conversation is that it confirmed that the superintendent wants to have a sustained effort at listening to the front line. Like that's what emerged from all of those comments. And so tonight I'll share specifically that you have 11, I believe 11 objectives, and one of those objectives really gets to just constant listening and learning from the front line, if that makes sense. I'll just to use that one example. So here's the draft of the balanced scorecard, and again, I want to thank the Community Advisory Committee, and again, I'll point out that Ms. Collier was, I believe, at all of the meetings, so she earned her stripes on the stuff at the top of the page. There were others. Ms. McKinley, yes, was there. In fact, she kind of co-hosted the last meeting with me as we dug into beliefs, and Mr. Baird. And Mr. Tucker was at the first one. I should never have started saying names, because now I'm realizing that I think at one point or another they were all there. But and that really is good that you got to see kind of that stuff. You know, it's the old saying, everybody likes sausage, nobody likes watching it being made, you know, and that was kind of like all the notes on the walls and sticky notes and everything. That's a little bit of what that's about. I will tell you that Dr. Heathcote and Dr. Rockwood on numerous occasions, you know, we would be kicking around words on the belief statements, and Dr. Heathcote was really good at saying, well, that makes sense, but, you know, we're kind of rewriting a statement, you know, that's getting outside of the boundaries of the notes that we receive. So thank you for that constant reminder that we receive feedback, and these align to that feedback. So not to rehash or relitigate the process of how we got there, Dr. Heathcote did a good job with that. This is a draft. the rationale was 2 new trustees coming in, give every trustee a chance to look them over, but definitely new trustees to look this over, and you guys can determine action timelines later. But belief statements and then vision statement, and please don't say, well, wow, that's the same one that we had. There was a lot of effort and time confirming that small school atmosphere, big school opportunity was basically, we were trying to validate it. And when we got all of the surveys and everything, that theme came through. That seems to be something that's, so we double checked that at least 2 times, and the last time most recently last week with the community committee, and validated that. You all, it's great that you have a slogan or a mantra, and you see it all over Falcons First, and so that was validated as well. One good piece of the conversation last Thursday night to me was that, and I appreciate Wes just giving like the factual answer, that every year there at convocation there was a theme or something, and so you would see Falcons First or Falcon this or Falcon that, and they correlated with the annual convocation kickoff, and that's great. I mean, that's what we talked about, was looking at keeping that, for this 4-year cycle for this balanced scorecard. And you can have a theme for convocation, but let's don't change, like what the mantra is for these 4 years. And then probably the bulk of the work on last Thursday night, is that right? Last Thursday night was the mission statement development, which we wanted to go succinct. We looked at a lot of the longer examples and decided to go really tight. So the mission statement proposed tonight is: in Lake Dallas ISD, we inspire, educate, and empower our students. And we wanted it to be tight, and almost, I think someone said it, one of the teachers that one of y'all sent said, I can put that on a t-shirt. So I thought that was good. That's kind of what we were looking for, was, like, what's this really tight statement? The classical definition of a mission statement is your role in the community, written in present tense. And it has a targeted beneficiary, not to give y'all flashbacks to last Thursday night, but a targeted beneficiary and an action and then a cause. And this certainly does all of those. So we set out then to take all the SWOT information, all the feedback, and then try to round out some broad strategic objectives that the board could adopt. And Dr. Heathcote touched on this just a moment ago, but trustees, if you will imagine 3 more columns to this chart. Because right now you may be looking at this, and you may not, but you may be looking at this going, wow, that's really broad. Where are the details? The details are in the staff balance scorecard. And so the next column, and Dr. Heathcote touched on this a while ago, is labeled strategic actions. And so you can see that there's 3, 2, and 3 strategic objectives in the 4 priorities of student, staff, community, and finance. Generally speaking, the work that has just started with the team behind me and that will continue, for example, just taking 1.1, so here's an objective, yearly student academic growth, and then asking this team to work collaboratively to establish 3 key strategic actions district-wide that align to that strategic objective. 3 big actions. And you have to kind of get comfortable with the premise that in an organization, if everything matters, then nothing matters. Probably said that 20 times since I've been here. So this is truly trying to take that mantra, if you will, that if everything matters, nothing matters, and let's narrow focus to the most important things. These 11 objectives are what the board should, in my recommendation, would be to establish a regular schedule of reviewing the scorecard. So in September, for example, priority 1, October, priority 2, November, priority 3, December, priority 4, and then back around again. So in the end of the fall and the spring, you've gone through the scorecard twice. The only thing I might add to this chart, and don't get mad at me for saying this, because you asked me to proof it 20 times, but I'm just adding this now for effect, okay? On the report that says student success, it may be student success and it may be student failure. I mean, it may be, here's a gap. Like, here's something that we keep working on this and we're just having some trouble. So that's a big part of this, is to get comfortable with, these are the things that went well, the strengths, and then these are the opportunities for improvement that we've identified that we're working on. Because the last thing we want our trustees in July 2023 or August 2023 to be surprised by some data. Like, there should be no surprise to any of the data that comes at the end of this cycle, because you've gone through the scorecard twice. I did that pretty quickly, but that's just a general overview of where we are. It's been a pleasure to be here. It's not, my work is not completely done, but it goes a little bit behind the scenes now, Mr. Stacy, and I just kind of do some work behind the scenes, rounding out the scorecard.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Any questions before we move on? Just a comment. I didn't recognize you in the back with the beard. You didn't have the beard last time.
Well,
I like it.
I was supposed to shave for Easter pictures, so I did, and now I'm back to not shaving.
All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any questions or comments, so we appreciate it. And we'll
Thank
see
y'all.
you in a
And
little
let me,
bit.
this team right behind me is a rock solid team, and I have had a lot of fun working with them. And we're talking 2 in the afternoon after a whole day of everything else that's going on and still going on, and we're talking about strategic actions and how we're going to measure it and how we're going, and they just hung in there. And you can always feel when the bell rings, when you get the principals in the room, you know, because you kind of have their eye contact, and then the bell rings, and then you just kind of lose the eye contact because their heart and their mind is back on the campus. But they did a great job going through this. I will tell you that when we put those objectives on the board, the last question we asked the principals, can you see the work that you're doing in this district collapsing into those objectives? That was the question, straightforward. And the answer was yes. Our work can fit into those objectives. So we take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next item is a debrief on good governance inventory and team trust results. So you're not leaving. Two, three. There you go.
Mr. Smith and Ms. Collier, I can't remember if y'all were at the board meeting on April the 19th. I don't think so. But that night, the trustees, as noted in the presentation, the board at that time took a good governance inventory. And what, Mr. Stacy, real quickly, all I wanted to do was share the results of that with you all. This is for open session, and then my notes indicated to circle back around and offer or go back through the team trust results, which are eligible for executive session if the board so desires. So this will give me 5 minutes to maybe run through this and see if there's any questions, and then I'm fully prepared at wherever it falls on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
To debrief that team trust post-election.
That'll work.
So, you know, when you adopt a balanced scorecard for the district, which hopefully you will in the near future, you're basically setting forth a course of continuous improvement. And you know, I always felt like, and I have no anxiety at all about Dr. Rockwood and his role as superintendent, that the best way to lead continuous improvement is to model continuous improvement. And it's hard to lead a continuous improvement environment if you're not, you know, willing to model it. So you guys took that night, if you remember, I said it's really bad form. I'm going to introduce myself and then give you an assessment. And I thought Scott, he was sitting beside me, and I could feel some vibes coming off Scott that was kind of like, you can head on back to Graham anytime you want to if I got to take a test right when you sit down. But you guys gave some really good feedback, and it was pretty painless. You just had to check. So I wanted you to, so we had the 6 trustees that were there that night answer the questions. And if you see in the gray bar, and the inventory did not look like this. It was on a 1-pager, and if y'all, it just had 3 columns, yes, no, and don't know on the side. And y'all were just putting check marks in it. So I wanted you to see where the answers fell out. I don't want to spend a lot of time, Dr. Rockwood, Mr. Stacy, going through this, because this is just your data that I am happy to debrief at any time. Dr. Rockwood, some districts, I'll come back and do a whole team of 8 session in a month or a quarter on the results, because if you really want to get the orange out and get the yellow out, you know, it takes time. But the main goal is, and you know, I'll just say it, you had 1 of the 18 questions that came back as a 6.0. That's okay. I mean, that's not uncommon. Ideally, we would work towards getting all 18 green. And I know that sounds a little bit Pollyanna, but it's doable. And one bit of good news, now that you know a little bit more about the previous item that we just went through, look at question or indicator number 1 and indicator number 2, if you don't mind, trustees. And do you see that if we do the balanced scorecard and build the system like we were talking about, indicator 1 and indicator 2 basically take care of it? Do you see how everything that we were talking about doing? So there's 33% of the good governance inventory that goes green, if you will, just because of the adoption, the approval, the moving forward with the systematic review. So that really only leaves about 60, and you don't even have to go all the way to 66% left, because you have a couple of them down in indicator 5 that the board feels that, you know, you do have. Let me find that one. Oh, board and superintendent participating in at least 1 team building activity every year. So y'all 100% said, yes, we do that. And I'm pretty sure that you do that, so that's good. But Mr. Stacy and Dr. Rockwood, I leave this with you today just for follow-up data, reflection time, and happy to come back and debrief, especially as you watch the indicator 1 and 2 over the next few months. Then if you want to work on 3, 4, 5, and 6, happy to help you pull on 3, 4, 5, and 6. And with that, Mr. Stacy and Dr. Rockwood, I'm open for any questions on the document you have there, and I am prepared, again, to assist you with the team trust.
Okay. Any questions or comments? We will be going into executive session here in a little bit, so we can continue that debrief, and then
Happy to help.
we got just one more item before we do that, and then we'll head that way.
Okay, thank you.
So our next item is the upcoming meetings and events. Dr. Rockwood.
All right, so some of our elementary principals have had a busy day running from Falcon Stadium back to their campuses, hanging out with Coach Head and his crew. But if you missed the elementary field day, then we've got 2 more chances for you tomorrow and the next day. I encourage everyone that can get out there to see our elementary Falcons having a blast at Falcon Stadium. So 2 more times this week. We have rose cutting ceremony back on the agenda May 24th, 6 p.m. in the competition gym. Excited to have that Lake Dallas tradition back. And then we mentioned earlier LDHS graduation May 25th, 5 p.m. at UNT. Also, service awards and end-of-year celebration on May 27th. If any of our trustees are available, that is at 8:30 in the morning. It is the day after the last day of school, so I'm sure that our principals and our teachers, they're going to miss our kiddos. We know that, but they're also going to be excited for a little bit of a break. So we're going to celebrate them that morning if you guys can make it out. And then we also have our golf tournament with the Lake Cities Education Foundation coming up on June 6th. So if you can support LCEF, please do that. I don't know if Mulaney has this information, but I do know, do we have board packet information up here for graduation? Is it at their seats? And so certainly available if you guys have any questions. But again, we talked about May 25th, 5 p.m., UNT. You've got your parking passes, general information. And so we look forward to celebrating our Falcons. And if anyone has any questions, you can reach out to me or to Miss Avellino.
All right, any questions from the board on that? Okay, if not, it is 8:01 and we will move to executive session. Okay, we'll reconvene to open session. It is 8:39, and as we have no further business, we are adjourned at 8:39. Thank you.